Roll.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A Democratic Republic of Sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Wicked Weed studio. I'm Tank Spencer. Brian Haynes in for Jeremy Greene today. It is a ginger-free Tuesday before the NFL draft. And we're going to talk some draft. We're not going to focus solely on the draft since the ginger's not here. We got other stuff to talk about. We got the NBA coming down to the wire. About 10 games left in the season. I know some have 12, some have 11. We're about 10 to go. So we're going to give you the 10 for 10. The 10 teams in the NBA that you got to watch over the next 10 or so games leading up to the NBA playoffs. We also got some things going on in baseball that we can chat about. And, of course, all the draft rumors that pop up while we are on the air here. We're glad you're along with us here in the Wicked Weed studio. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll know whenever we put out new draft content. We got the 7-round mock drafts for each and every team going out over the next few days so you can get all your draft prep in before the big night on Thursday night, the first round of the NFL draft, and we will be live with our instant reactions here in the Wicked Weed studio all 3 days of the NFL draft. And I am, buddy, I'm trying to prepare for it, but it's not something that you could ever prepare for. You know, it reminds me of my days in political, in political radio.
Yeah.
You do all the prep work, you try to get ready for the elections, and then election night comes and shit goes haywire, and you're just sitting there like, what just happened? We're going to have some surprises in this NFL draft.
Yeah, I've been watching. The way things seem to be unfolding is that there's absolutely no chance that things are going to go according to anybody's plan whatsoever. I believe that we're going to be here live for every single pick in the NFL draft. Starting Thursday, we'll be doing pregame at about 7 o'clock. I just want to make sure that we recommend that we pray for all of our livers here in the studio, as we will probably be having a couple adult cocktails.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That will be it. And a huge part of the draft coverage is going to be you. We are the Democratic Republic of Sports, and we talk about things that you want to talk about. So fire us up in the comment section with everything you need to, or everything that you want to know about what's going on in the sports world. Today, we will answer your questions live, not only on this show, but each and every show. We don't do a good enough job of putting that out there every day because we just got so much to get into in our hours here on the show. So don't forget, your comments, your suggestions, your topics are always accepted here in the Sportsocracy, again, the Democratic Republic of Sports. And that's going to be the way that it goes down on draft night as well. We want you firing questions at us, and we want you to be involved in all of this. Your chance to be producers of the Sportsocracy each and every day. So take that opportunity. Just fire at us what is on your mind. And if you've got draft questions that you want to get in before the draft, just hit us up on social media. You can fire them at me, at SportsTankESPN on Twitter, or, of course, Jeremy, he's way better at the Twitter thing than I am. Hit him up at JGreene.ESPN. Get those draft day questions in now so we can prepare. And we'll be able to put your name up on the screen if we have enough prep time,
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Everybody loves to see them getting involved themselves in the show. We would love to have you guys on there. We want to, especially the folks that have been sticking with us through all this time. You guys are amazing. We love you all. If you guys have questions, I'm looking at all these guys: Roy, Patrick Holt, Kevin Vick, Michael Whiteside, everybody. I'm sure I'm forgetting people off the top of my head, but you guys all know who you are here every single day. We do appreciate you guys so much. With that being said, if you can share out this, our YouTube channel to get subscribers, we are so close. We are like 200 away from where we need to be, and we're looking to try to do that right before the draft.
Yeah, we're trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. So do your part and help us reach that goal. And once we do, we keep this thing rolling. We get more and more people involved, but we will never forget our core group. It's like, we talk about every now and then. I was in a movie back when I was in 6th grade. I was in the Disney movie Heavyweights. It was filmed out here in Hendersonville. And, it's like you've got your normal group of people,
right,
and then you've got your core group.
Yep.
And if you are in the inner circle, you know who you are.
Darn right. Darn right.
I see Kevin Vicks already made an appearance this morning in the comment section. Kevin, congratulations on securing your Atlanta Braves Red Sox tickets coming up on June the 16th.
Yeah, you guys will be there.
We will be there. I will be there with Kevin. We're not going together, but we will. We'll both be in the house for that, so just mark that on your calendars, June 15th and June 16th. I will not be here. I will be, I don't know, by then I might be phoning in some reports live from Truist Park, not only here, but also on the ESPN Asheville Show, the Sports Tank with Jeremy Greene, every weekday afternoon at 3, and you can hear it everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Good morning, Mom. Hi.
Yeah, Mama Tank's in there.
Mama Tank's in the comments.
Mama Tank's in the comments. That's what I'm talking about. Always a good day when Mama Tank's joining us.
That's right.
All
right. So the sifting through the bullshit. This continues to be the ongoing theme weeks leading up to the NFL draft. And yesterday, we got some piles of BS laid upon us by the San Francisco 49ers. First off, so teams were doing yesterday their pre-draft press conferences.
Right.
So we saw a lot of these throughout the league. However, the San Francisco 49ers one, there's just too much good stuff to come out of that one. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch talking about the number 3 pick in the draft. What are we going to do? We all know they traded up to 3 to get a quarterback. Who's the quarterback going to be has been the talking point since that trade happened with the Miami Dolphins. Now, here's the question. Do you buy anything that Kyle Shanahan is saying at this point? Because now he says, well, we did trade up to 3. We had one guy specifically in mind because we already knew how the first 2 picks were going to go, Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. We had a guy in mind, but really there are 5 quarterbacks that we could take at number 3.
Yeah.
And, while the one guy we had in mind, he's gotten better, but so have all the other candidates as well. So that we're really still stuck in a 3-way race for this number 3 pick, which I think is just complete and utter horse hockey.
Yeah. I mean, it's been pretty well documented that they have wanted to go after Mac Jones. Most people believe that Trey Lance would be the pick here because most believe, why in the world would you trade all those picks to get Mac Jones? Now, the report came out this weekend saying that basically what it is that Kyle Shanahan wants Mac Jones and John Lynch wants Trey Lance. Now, here's the thing, and Jeremy and Tank talked about it yesterday. The reason that got out, which most would believe, is that John Lynch, as a GM, first-time GM, wants to make sure that everybody knows that if they choose Mac Jones and he goes down in a flaming pile of poo, then he wants everybody to know that he wanted Trey Lance. Now, San Francisco is usually pretty, they're tight-lipped. They never really let things out of the bag. So then we had this crazy press conference yesterday where, Kyle Shanahan said, he has when asked about Jimmy Garoppolo, is he still going to be on the team? He basically said he doesn't even know who's going to be alive coming up in the next couple of days.
Right.
So how in the world would he ever know if Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be on the team because he might meet his demise prior to this decision being made?
We all may. You never know when like an asteroid the size of Texas is going to hit the world, and there is no more NFL, there is no more football, there's no more life left on the planet. His direct quote was, I can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive on Sunday, so I can't guarantee you who will be on our roster on Sunday. So that goes for all of us.
Yeah.
What? What?
Yeah.
Like, the deflecting at some point has to stop.
Yeah.
And I get you don't want to tip your hand, although at this point, what would it friggin' matter? You've got the number 3 pick. It's not like anybody's going to be able to come up above you in the draft and snake you if you want to tell us, hey, we're going to have, Mac Jones is our guy and we're sticking with our guy. Or Trey Lance or Justin Fields, whatever it is. Now, I think Justin Fields is out of this equation. All of the news has been, and maybe that's what they want us to believe, is that it's down between Mac Jones and Trey Lance. Those are the reports that came out from like 8 different sources.
Right.
Or people reporting 8 different sources over the weekend, that it's down between those 2 guys. I still think it's going to be Trey Lance. Like I said yesterday on the show, you don't draft a guy when you have a quarterback on your roster already. You don't draft the guy with the lowest floor or with the highest floor.
Yeah.
You draft the guy with the highest ceiling because he's going to be sitting for at least a year, maybe 2 years.
Okay. I'm going to read between the lines of that press conference a little bit.
All right.
Here's what I took out of that press conference. And now let's go back, because prior to Kyle Shanahan going absolutely Grim Reaper on everybody, John Lynch came out as the united front. We make decisions together. I'm going to pick this pick based on what Kyle says, because Kyle's not only the head coach, but he's also the offensive play caller. Blah, 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 blah. I always defer to him. Now, here's what I think. And it's going to be a little bit different.
Okay.
So I read between the lines of this, and I read that there is some dissension among the ranks between them. I felt like Kyle Shanahan got a little mad that this information got out, because no information is supposed to get out of the San Francisco household.
Okay.
Now, not only that, but the way that he reacted to what John Lynch said, I have this strange feeling that they're going to bow to Kyle Shanahan, and Mac Jones is going to be the number 3 pick in the draft on this Thursday.
Okay.
And I believe that's going to happen. I believe that it's now, the way that Kyle was acting was almost childish. Like, a kid that didn't get his toy, so to speak. And the way he was talking, it just came across disingenuous. John Lynch was really trying, I think, to bring them back together and say these things so that they can maybe have a conversation going forward about Trey Lance. Maybe he was saying, we're going to go this, but hey, let me at least get in your ear about this kid. And I think Kyle Shanahan just sat there and said, no, I want Mac Jones, and I'm going to get Mac Jones, and that's what's going to happen. And honestly, I'm not going to lie to you, I think that's what's going to happen, and I will not be surprised on Thursday night when that pick comes in if it doesn't have Mac Jones written on the card.
Okay. All right. I don't see it the same way.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that this is Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch sitting back going, how can we fuck with him today? How can we? And I think that goes not just for that organization, but for every other organization. What can we say today that is going to get people talking about us? Because the more and more people talk about us, then the bigger and bigger our brand can get. Yeah, and some teams do it in a horrible way, as you'll find out later in the program, like the Philadelphia Eagles. But I mean, good organizations, I think, do this from time to time. And I think, honestly, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, to me, there's nothing that has shown me that there is a rift between the two. Now, they may have their preferences. Kyle Shanahan has his preference. John Lynch has his preference. And they can sit down and they can chop it up behind closed doors, and they can come to a mutual agreement. To me, it doesn't strike me as an adversarial relationship between these two. I don't see Kyle sitting back throwing a fit saying, I want my way, and if I can't have my way, then screw you guys. That, to me, doesn't really, and I don't think that's the way that John Lynch runs this organization. Everybody's opinion in the inner circle is valued. And he even said yesterday during the press conference that they are going to sit down together, they're going to make the decisions. When it comes to offensive guys, he's going to bend to Kyle Shanahan's wishes. Kyle Shanahan wants this guy. He runs the offense. He calls the plays for the offense. He's going to defer to whatever Kyle Shanahan wants to do. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have his own ideas about what's best for this team, but this is the guy that you've entrusted to lead your team.
And I agree
you've
with
already
that.
been to a Super Bowl.
I agree with that, but who does Kyle Shanahan want?
He wants Mac.
Okay.
If we believe what we're told.
If we believe what we're told, and that's the thing, if he's going to defer to Kyle Shanahan on all offensive picks, quarterback plays offense, he wants Mac Jones.
Yep.
I believe Mac Jones is going to be the number 3 pick in this draft. I do see a little bit. I don't think that Kyle Shanahan really liked that leak coming out. I believe that I think that conversation, if it was happening, but you got to understand, Kyle Shanahan's pretty safe as a coach.
100%.
If he loses his job in San Francisco, he's going to get another job somewhere else. But John Lynch is a first-time GM. This pick right here is going to determine kind of John Lynch's future, I believe. This number 3 pick, if he gets this wrong, there is a chance that maybe down the road people are going to link these two, John Lynch and whoever he picks, together for the rest of his life. Now, with that being said,
if it's Trey Lance.
If it's Trey
Lance. This is the thing. This is what I think John Lynch has done. If in fact he is the source on this, Trey Lance is my guy thing.
Yeah.
He has given himself a buffer.
Yeah.
Like, this is the guy that we're entrusting to run the offense. I'm going to defer to him. He's the expert. If Mac Jones gets taken at 3, and this is a disaster, which it very well could be, then that's on him. That's on Kyle.
Yeah.
I told you guys, we put it out there that I wanted Trey Lance. If Mac Jones comes in and he's the pick, and this is a bad decision, this is all on Kyle.
Right.
And John Lynch can sit back and he'll be able to explain that to ownership. And I don't think that he's, now it goes the other way. That's the thing about the report. The report brought in the two sides here.
Right.
Who's to blame if this goes badly? And if John has said, we'll defer to him, and it's Mac Jones and it goes badly, then that's all on Kyle Shanahan.
Right.
And John Lynch gets to keep his job. I don't think either of these guys are going to lose their job.
No,
honestly,
I think they've done a pretty good job. Both of them are pretty safe. It's just...
It depends on how bad it gets.
It could be, and we're not going to be able to know this until out, because let's be honest here. Mac Jones could be drafted at number 3, and Mac Jones could be a fantastic quarterback in this league. We do not know. All signs point to he's going to be an okay quarterback. I think Kyle Shanahan looks at it and says, my offense is good enough that as long as I don't have someone who is... has nothing between the ears and who makes bad decisions and does these things, my offense is good enough to be able to succeed in this league.
Right.
And I think that's why he's going with more of the known product in Mac Jones in his mind, because he thinks that he's thinking, Jimmy's history of injuries has not been, fantastic. He's thinking, well, I'm not sure Trey Lance is completely ready to play quarterback yet. And maybe Mac Jones, I don't necessarily know if he is either, but I think if you had to put someone in a position week 6, I'd say Mac Jones is probably a little bit more NFL ready to start a game than Trey Lance would be. So I can see all the talk of coming this way. My thing about him kind of being like a little toddler was more from the press conference than it was anything. It just seems so weird.
Right.
Usually, I've never seen...
What do you say?
Huh?
What do you say if you don't want to tip your hand? What are you going to say?
Yeah, I guess I would just sit there and be the good soldier and agree with John Lynch with what he just said, instead of just going all, the death becomes us kind of routine.
He was asked, is Jimmy Garoppolo going to be on this team? And you don't want to tip your hand, so what else? I get it. It's a very macabre thing that he said. I can't even tell you if any of us are still going to be alive on Sunday. But that's his way of saying, fuck you, I don't have to answer your question.
Yeah, I know. But
because we all know. I say we all know. I have made up my mind on this, so I believe I know what's going to happen. I don't know who the pick is going to be, but I'm willing to bet my house that Jimmy Garoppolo is the starting quarterback for this team for this next year.
I 100% agree.
He's not going to be traded.
I don't think that there is any... Past Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson, I don't believe the next 3 quarterbacks are ready to start week 1 for a franchise, except for maybe in the Denver situation. I don't see how in the world San Francisco can draft someone here at 3, and I get how it works. he's a number 3 pick. Your fans are going to be screaming out the yazoo about this guy playing. But I don't see how you could make this pick with who's available and not keep Jimmy on your team. I really believe this. And for God's sakes, Jimmy Garoppolo went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Played pretty well, if you guys remember.
One pass.
Yeah, he outplayed Patrick Mahomes for 3 quarters as far as I can
Had he hit that last pass down the middle and not overthrown his receiver, that would have been a very different story. We'd be talking about the San Francisco 49ers as the Super Bowl champions.
Yeah.
And how the Kansas City Chiefs have lost 2 Super Bowls in a row.
Now, with that being said, oh, God almighty. I wasn't even paying attention, then I caught it off the last of my ear, and I'm just like, here we go. But here's also the thing. Who did they keep anybody that was a quarterback on the team last year? Or is Josh Rosen the only one left, other than Garoppolo? Did they keep Nick Mullins? They didn't keep.
Nick Mullins is gone. He's a free
Beathard
agent.
is gone.
Beathard's gone.
So, I mean, they don't even have someone that's run the offense before other than Josh Rosen on the that's a bad sign. So it's not even like they could trade Jimmy and have someone there that knows offense kind of teach these guys if they trade Jimmy Garoppolo. So let's be clear here. I am agreeing with you 100% that Jimmy Garoppolo is on this team this year. And I think everybody knows that. And I think that's maybe the route they should have taken. He should have said, listen, Jimmy's our quarterback right now. We're going to draft a rookie. And if he plays him in camp or he does this, then we can put him out there. But again, the NFL is such smokescreen. It's such crap all the time. I just wish for once someone would just be flat out honest and say, listen, this is what we're doing.
No, we don't like that.
We're going to do this.
We don't like it when they're honest with us.
God almighty.
The Carolina Panthers fans have busted Matt Rule over and over and over again since the end of the season when he said Teddy Bridgewater's not our future.
Yeah.
There's been nothing but oh, you shouldn't have handled it that way. Well, what do you want? Do you want to keep getting lied to? Or do you want a guy like Matt Rule who's going to be honest with you and say that we're going to get rid of Teddy Bridgewater at whatever stage? I'm on the Matt Rule side. I would rather have you tell me the truth than what's going on, than throwing smoke screens.
And he did kind of tell the truth without telling the truth a little bit. He said, Teddy was our quarterback for right now. He didn't say Teddy's not our quarterback. He said he's our quarterback for right now, basically telling you we're looking to do other things. Now, since they've made that trade for Sam, unless there's not any sort of suitors whatsoever, which I don't believe that. I believe that there are suitors for Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah. Denver.
I think if Denver,
Denver. They're the only one. I don't think there's any other team.
I feel like the quicker you can get him out of town, the better off. And we discussed that a week ago about how it would be bad for the franchise if going into camp you had both of these guys on your roster. Going back to I guess being the honest people going out of these press conferences, I get a lot of the smoke screen. It's just really frustrating sometimes because it's almost like, and I could see teams further down the list, but you said it right. It really doesn't make, and I guess it does make, I don't know. I'm a little, that's how confused I am about this freaking draft. It's got me going, it's got me going crazy. Here it is. They're at number 3. They're obviously choosing between 2 quarterbacks. There's lots of people saying that Justin Fields is still in the mix. I do not believe that. I think it's either Trey Lance or Mac Jones. And at this point, after that last press conference, I believe Mac Jones will be the 3rd pick in the draft. And I think we're just going to have to wait until Thursday, and all of our minds are just going to be blown starting off right away. And, sometimes we have this idea going into a draft about how, things are going to get crazy. I go right after pick 2. I mean, I would not be surprised if we were just every single pick after that or trade that happens, we're just like, what in the hell just happened? So I'm looking forward to it for sure.
We get so settled on we think we know what's going to happen, and the same thing happens every year. Somebody throws a wrench into all of this. And Roy said in the comments on YouTube, thanks for joining us, Roy, by the way. Roy said maybe all of this quarterback talk from San Francisco is just a smokescreen, and they're going to screw everybody down the behind them in the draft and take Kyle Pitts at number 3. I mean, I guess they could. I don't know why they would. I mean, I get Kyle Pitts is a generational tight end. We believe that, but they have one of those.
They have one of those already.
And I get he's a little different. You can put him out wide. You can use him in so many different scenarios. But one thing is true. See, that right there is a move that can get you fired.
Yeah.
If you traded 3 first-round draft picks to get up to number 3 to draft a tight end, who, I mean, we get everything screams superstar about Kyle Pitts. But what if it doesn't work?
Yeah.
What if he comes in the league and blows out an ankle or blows out his knee or something like that and just is never the same player again? You don't ever want to put that evil on anybody that there's going to be some kind of a horrendous injury. But at the end of the day, you still have to look down to it bare bones. You traded 3 first-round draft picks for a tight end.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that would get John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, everybody thrown out of San Francisco.
Yeah.
They know they're taking a quarterback. Mm-hmm. They know Jimmy Garoppolo is not the quarterback of the future for this team. And Jimmy knows it. Jimmy's been in this situation before. Jimmy is a pro, and he understands what the business is like. The same thing I've been saying with Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater may have his feelings hurt about how things have gone down in Carolina, but in the end of the day, he's been in this scenario before. Remember, he got ousted in New York by Sam Darnold, and then he had to take the job with the New Orleans Saints to sit behind Drew Brees.
Yeah.
The Minnesota years didn't go all that well, and they ended up replacing him with Kirk Cousins. Like, these guys understand what their ceiling is. They understand their role. They can be professionals. And they're going to serve whatever role is necessary. And Jimmy Garoppolo understands that his role right now is as the bridge quarterback to the quarterback of the future for the San Francisco 49ers. And if he can have a great season next year, then maybe he gets another year. And after that, I think his goal should be focusing on great season this year and then parlaying that into a bigger deal, a Teddy Bridgewater type deal with another team next year.
There's, all reports coming out of San Francisco is that Jimmy G is being a really good guy about the situation, that he believes he understands what's going on. He believes that were it not for his injury history, we might not even be having this conversation right now. Because let's be clear, again, I just said it before, he went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. If he was healthy last year, they probably would have made the playoffs, maybe even done some damage. I don't think we're having this conversation right now going into the draft. I think San Francisco probably obviously isn't trading up because they would have won more games and blah, 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 blah. But he understands what happened with his injuries, and then maybe this is the thing. And that's where I can, what happens if San Francisco comes out and wins the Super Bowl next year?
Which is a pretty good possibility.
Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
No.
And then now you have this situation where you have a Super Bowl winning quarterback and you have a backup, which you traded your entire future for, sitting on the bench, and then it starts to get a little scary. So that is kind of like fireworks being thrown into a barrel. You know what I mean?
Right.
What's going to possibly happen? But again, all these things we never know. I mean, we just don't know what's going to happen. And I just think that San Francisco is already a really good team. And barring the quarterback being a complete travesty, I don't think they can necessarily get this too wrong. I don't think.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Roy said the same thing could happen, talking about
injuries.
And we're talking about losing their jobs. Talking about Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch losing their jobs if the pick goes wrong.
Right.
Same thing could happen if it's quarterback.
Yeah.
Although I think the risk is very less because of the value of the quarterback position in the NFL. I mean, how many times we see quarterbacks taken in the draft and those quarterbacks just never pan out. And that's the thing that kills me about this draft class as well. Like, everybody's talking about there are 5 really good quarterbacks in this draft.
No, there's not.
When in history, when in history have we ever had, 5 really good, solid quarterbacks come out of one draft? I mean, 2004 in the Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger draft.
I mean, they're just
the chances of all 5 of these guys being solid starters in the NFL is nil. Zero chance.
It would be,
one of these guys at least is going to be a bust. there's a real good possibility that at least 3 of these guys are going to be mediocre to bad.
Yeah.
I just don't know who it's going to be. Now, I would be willing to say that my group of 3 that's going to be mediocre to bad are Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Mac Jones. And I think in that order.
Okay.
Because I believe it. I believe Justin Fields is going to be a decent quarterback in the NFL. He's not going to come in and win MVPs and set records and all this kind of stuff. He very well may. I don't believe his ceiling is that high. But I also think his floor is kind of high. Jeremy keeps saying his floor is super low and he can come in, just be a bust and be out of the league in 3 years. I don't believe Justin Fields has that in him. I believe in him as, a competitor, as a guy who's a smart kid who can learn the position, learn to do the things right that he's doing wrong now. His arm strength, obviously, I don't know how much more arm strength he can get. We talk a lot about him heaving balls from his ankles all the way to to get him down the field and stuff like that. But I think in the right situation, Denver, New England, I think he could have a very solid, long career.
I think if Justin Fields ends up in Denver, he could be very, very good. The more and more that I've looked into Justin Fields, there is some stuff that bothers me, but he can be a good quarterback. Now, history's just against it, though. History is 100% against this, and I'm going to tend to side on of history when it's never happened before in history. So that's just something, the last time we even had 3 picks go 1, 2, 3, Tim Couch, Donovan McNabb, Akili Smith. I mean, Donovan McNabb can be considered, he did pretty well for himself, and he played at Syracuse, so I love him,
Right.
But, 2 of the 3 were terrible. Last time we had 4 taken in the top 10. How many of those guys? I mean, it's just history's against any of these guys, all these guys succeeding in the NFL. Do I think they actually have a chance? And this could be kind of the new barrier, as we so to speak.
Right.
There is a good chance. I see all these quarterbacks having a role in the future of the NFL in some sort of respect. I think that all 5 of these guys can be a starter in this league. I don't know. And to be honest, let's be clear here. There's about 10 people who can play quarterback in the entire world in this league. I mean, there is. There's 10 guys that can play quarterback really, really well, and then we have a bunch of okay guys.
Okay.
You know what I mean? There's only 10 that play at elite level. You don't necessarily have to be Aaron Rodgers. You don't have to be Tom Brady. There's other people that can win Super Bowls. It depends on the team and the fit that you get into. And sometimes it just takes someone who is, when you have a team like San Francisco whose defense is fantastic, when you have a team like even Washington, for me this year going into the season, there's teams that their defenses are going to be so incredibly good that as long as they don't have a quarterback who loses the game for them, they can win football games.
Yep.
And I think, for example, Washington is one of them. So there's got to be this barrier of how are we going to look at these quarterbacks down the line? Are you winning football games? Because you look at Mitchell Trubisky's record, it's better than about 20%, or not 20 other quarterbacks in this league. He's like 25-8 as a starter.
Right.
Now, he wasn't going to win you Super Bowls because the defense is going to, and he's going to make the playoffs. But hey, you know what? If I have a guy that can make me the playoffs, is that better than what you have right now? And that's
but he's
the thing.
Also a guy that's going to lose you games.
Yeah.
That's the knock on Mitchell Trubisky.
Of course.
That, sure, his defense was so great that he won a lot of games, sure.
Right. I mean,
but he's also the guy that's going to lose you some games. And as long as you're not that guy, I think you got a few. I was reading the article the other day about Mitchell Trubisky is the first quarterback or the only quarterback that was drafted in the first round since 2008 or something that didn't get the 5th-year extension.
Yeah.
After Cleveland picked up Baker Mayfield's extension, now Mitch Trubisky is the lone guy out.
Well, Josh Rosen didn't. You say number 1 pick?
Actually, it was top 5.
Top five
picks.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Top 5 picks not to have their 5th-year extension granted.
Yeah, and I think Chicago was really dumb not to do it. I mean, be honest here. you got Andy Dalton going at quarterback when they could have at least given the money that Buffalo gave him, for God's sakes. So I don't know. And I'm not trying to say that that's who you want your quarterback that you draft to be the future as be Mitchell Trubisky. I'm just saying that we talk about these quarterbacks succeeding, and there's never been 5 quarterbacks drafted that succeed. I got a feeling that these 5 quarterbacks could be, when you look down at 5 years down the road, I don't know if we can look at all of them as being busts. I honestly believe they have a fit in the NFL somewhere here. And I don't know if I've ever even looked at maybe more than 3 quarterbacks in a draft and thought that. So
true.
This is a draft unlike any other, as they like to say about it. So
it is going to be, and who's going to move up to get a quarterback? I think Denver might try to make a move. New England's not going to make a move. I don't see Chicago making a move. Oh God, Chicago fans. Chicago fans are still hot and heavy on this. There was a mock draft that was published in the Chicago Tribune. I think this was today. It might have been yesterday, where they had the Chicago Bears trading up to number 4. To get Justin Fields.
So do they not
no analysis, no nothing, no, like, this is what they have to give up to get there. It's just, maybe they could possibly get up to number 4. You realize that's not going to happen.
What exactly would be, I wish we had Jeremy right here right now, because I want to know what you would have to give up to get from 20 to number 4.
Probably 3 1s.
3 1s?
You'd have to give up the same thing San Francisco gave up.
But San Francisco was at number 12. It wasn't. Chicago was at number 20. That's 8. That's a huge difference. It'd be like 5 number 1s.
No.
Yeah, it'd probably be 5 1s. Can you even do that? Can you mortgage the future like that? Is there some sort of law against it? Like, NFL's like, listen, we can't let you do this.
I think the NBA has that rule. I don't think the NFL has that rule.
Like, no, guys. I'm going to have to veto that. You guys cannot do this.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're not moving up. But it is going to be a draft unlike any other, and we're going to be live for it all 3 days right here in the Wicked Weed studio.
Right here, folks.
Don't forget to check them out at wickedweedbrewing.com. Wicked Weed Brewing. Drink different. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Brian Haynes, and let's talk some basketball. Last night, all good things have to come to an end. And the Knicks' 9-game winning streak came to an end last night. So now are you back off of your Knicks? Are you done now?
No.
Are you like every other New York Knicks fan, like, oh God, we lost the game, we're out of it?
Not a chance in hell. We are way too good this year for me to just jump off the bandwagon. Listen, and we're going to talk about this in our 10 topics. But my main thing that I'm looking for with the Knicks right now is going to be, how do they rebound from the loss last night? They are hot. Now, if they go out and they lose the next, 5 or 6 games in a row, we're going to be worried about something. But for some reason, I just don't think that these guys have the fortitude in them to necessarily just fall off a cliff. I don't. I think that they are.
So you think they have enough fortitude to come back?
Yeah, that's I guess what I was saying.
All right.
Sometimes I don't talk so well,
Right.
I'm not camera friendly. Sometimes when I eat, I get this clicking sound in my jaw. But
some people say I don't have a working brain.
Yeah, just, I did get the shot yesterday, my second shot, and I am a little bit probably zombie. But
right.
Here I am. I think that's one thing I'm looking for. We're going to talk about this more, but I don't want to see him fall off a cliff, so to speak.
I don't think they will. I think Tom Thibodeau has this team playing well above their weight class right now. I didn't expect this. Coming into the season, did you expect that your New York Knicks were going to be a threat in the playoff talk at the end of the season?
I'll repeat myself. Not a chance in hell.
Not a chance in hell, exactly. Tom Thibodeau's coming in. You're not sure exactly what you're getting. Oh, goody. Our best player is Julius Randle. That hasn't worked out well. And then 2021 happened. And everybody goes, oh, shit.
Yep.
Julius Randle, he's kind of good.
Yeah.
He actually fills a good role on this team. I do enjoy the fact that we were sitting here on Saturday watching the game here in the studio, and the fans at Madison Square Garden keep chanting MVP at Julius Randle. And I said I wanted to be in the stands just so every time they go MVP, I can just yell it, Team MVP, Team MVP, because he's not an MVP.
No.
He's not an MVP candidate overall in the NBA. But there is no doubt that he is the most improved player in the NBA this year. That is an award that he will be taking home.
I think so, and I think he's going to be second-team All-NBA. He's averaging close to 30, close to 10, close to 5 assists a game. He also gets steals. This is the first time in Julius Randle's career that he's been the number one option on a team. We all knew coming out of college that this guy had some skills to him. He just was put on, he had that terrible, what was it, game 1? The terrible injury his rookie year in Los Angeles. Yep. I mean, and I think it just set him back, and he's had to fight his way back. And I think he appreciates being given this opportunity in New York, and I'm hoping that this leads to him, maybe re-signing with them going forward, and that he can be the cornerstone piece of this franchise looking forward and possibly to getting some big name free agents coming to New York. They've built a really good team of role players that are playing together under Tibbs. Tibbs has got these guys playing unbelievable. They've done things unlike they've done in years past, where they have, they used to give these mid-level free agents 5 years and crazy amount of money because that's all they can get, and they just wanted to have some sort of product out on the floor that they think they can win. But instead what they've done is they've signed these guys to 1 or 2 year contracts with more money on the 1 or 2 year contracts than maybe they could go get long-term somewhere else. They started to play together. Reggie Bullock plays pretty well. They drafted very well. They picked up Derrick Rose. I mean, they traded Marcus Morris, one of the two.
Yeah, one of those two.
I think it's Marcus. And they ended up getting a pick in return, which ended up being Emmanuel Quickly, who could be the Rookie of the Year this year. So they're starting to make good decisions. And to be honest, I mean, Mitchell Robinson's not even playing right now because he's hurt. He's always hurt. But that's another piece that they've done. The Knicks have a good future. And I'm just really hoping that for once in a very long time that, a playoff win would be good.
Yeah. Well, you're sitting in the 4 spot right now, so hosting a playoff series in Madison Square Garden, that's something that hasn't been done in quite a while.
Yep.
So in the 4 spot, you could be hosting, as it shakes out right now, you'd be hosting the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh, boy.
In that 4-5 matchup.
And they are on
in
fire.
The East. But with about 10 games to go in the NBA season, the New York Knicks are my number 10 team to watch over the next 10 games. With the fact that they just had a 9-game losing streak snapped, they are playing pretty well. They play really good defense. Julius Randle is playing out of his mind this year, or I don't even want to say that. I want to say actually finally living up to some expectation. I used to play on the radio show when we first started this show on Saturdays on WWNC. I used to have the clip of Julius Randle dunking over somebody and the guys, some guy calling into like Feinbaum's show saying, Julius Randle, that's a man right there. I'll tell you what, that's a man. That's how a man dunks a basketball.
Guaranteed he was from Kentucky.
Right, exactly. But that's the thing, is we all thought that he was going to be the next man when he came in, and it just hasn't worked out. Now we can say he's finally living up to some expectations with the New York Knicks. And I love Tom Thibodeau as a coach.
Me too.
I like defensive-minded coaches.
I love it.
And I think that there's still a role for that in the NBA when everybody screams about highlight plays and scoring 130 points a night and all this kind of stuff. No, I want to see teams to be able to go out there and be able to neutralize those scorers and to be able to play good fundamental basketball and still win games in this league. I mean, it's kind of like the Chicago Bears of the NBA.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
I mean, you're not flashy. You go out and play hard-nosed. You're going to win enough games to get into the playoffs. Are you going to win a championship? Probably not, but at least you're going to be worth talking about a little bit.
And I think what you have to do if you don't have, the NBA is going on a route that you're going to have 2 to 3 superstars on a roster. If you don't have that, what you need to do is have a coach like Tibbs that can get every one of your mid-level guys to bind together, play good defense, and win enough games that hopefully you can be good enough to attract. Because let's be clear, no one was going to Brooklyn. No one was going to Brooklyn before they made the playoffs a couple years ago without all these guys. Then they made the playoffs, and then everybody looked at that and said, oh, Kyrie said, ooh, I can win with that. Oh, let me get Kevin Durant. I can win with that. And then, of course, they trade them all off to get Harden. So there's reasons behind what they're doing, and it basically is in the NBA, you need to be good enough. If you're not already great, you need to be good enough to attract free agents, and that's how the NBA is going to be going. No one's going to be going to these teams like, who's going to go to Indiana Pacers? You know, who's going to go there as a free agent?
Nobody.
Now, if the Indiana Pacers were the 4th or 5th in the conference this year, is there a possibility of it? Probably not still, because it's Indiana, and who the hell wants to go to Indiana?
Okay.
I mean, but I'm looking at these teams down in the bottom here. You know, why the Magic, the Pistons, the Cavaliers, why they suck every single year. They haven't been good enough to make the playoffs, and they're not attractive enough to get any free agents. So unless you can build a team that can win some games to make it attractive to free agencies, this is going to be the way the NBA goes from now on, I believe.
I would agree with that. The Knicks are my number 10 team to watch over the next 10-ish games here in the NBA season. Number 9 on the list for me is the Washington Wizards. The Washington Wizards have won 8 in a row. They're now 10th in the Eastern Conference, so they're sliding into the play-in tournament, and they're going to stay there, and they're not going to rise beyond that, but I don't know. I mean, the way that Russell Westbrook has been playing, Bradley Beal as well is doing well. It looks like that terrible tandem is going to, make a little bit of noise in the playoffs. You just had Russell Westbrook setting the new record for the most triple-doubles in a month, breaking Wilt Chamberlain's record. So he's got 12 triple-doubles in a month.
He's pretty freaking good when it comes to the triple-doubles.
Well, yeah, but again, it becomes he's the guy. He's the guy with the ball in his hand. He's going to be the guy that, the straw that stirs the drink for a bad team. He's always been that.
Yeah. He can win basketball games. I have a dream.
Okay, what's your dream?
This is my dream. That somehow, some way, the Washington Wizards end up winning the play-in tournament.
Okay.
Becoming the 8th seed in the playoffs.
Okay.
Who would they play round 1 as of right now?
The Brooklyn Nets.
And would that not be the most amazing thing in the world if Russell Westbrook and the Washington Wizards could knock out the Brooklyn Nets in the first round of the playoffs after Kevin Durant didn't list Russell Westbrook as his top 5 basketball players he's played with as a teammate? I have a dream, and I want that dream to come true.
Poor Russ having to face off against James Harden and Kevin Durant in the first round of the playoffs, and they'd get stomped. It wouldn't even be close. The Nets would roll all over them. I don't think they're making noise, but the fact that they are on this hot streak down toward the end of the season, have been able to win 8 in a row, creep into the play-in tournament conversation. Again, they're at 10, and they still have a way to go to be relevant.
They're 27 and 34.
Honestly, tell me, if you have these 4 teams as we have it right now in the play-in tournament, the 7-8 game would be Miami and Charlotte. I think that's a game Charlotte can win, especially with LaMelo Ball coming back.
Yeah.
So Charlotte wins that game. They become the 7 seed. Then they have to face off against Philadelphia and lose in the first round of the playoffs. Then you have Washington, in my opinion, would have no trouble with Indiana in the 9-10 game.
Yeah.
Then they have to play Miami in the play-in game for the 8 seed. Do you think, with what you've seen from Miami this year, do you think they can beat Washington?
I don't know. Miami's a team that is bothersome to me. They go on these streaks where they do really well. I just think Jimmy Butler's kind of a different animal when it comes to like playoffs, and I think he's the kind of guy that gets the rest of the team ready to play. A 1-game scenario against the Charlotte Hornets, I still think Miami would win that game.
Okay.
I would love to see the Charlotte Hornets win because that's always awesome to see the Hornets beat in our area.
Even with LaMelo and Hayward back?
I don't know. I guess maybe I get blinded by the run that Miami made last year, and I can just see that just kind of happening again. But Charlotte is obviously a much better team with those guys there. But again, they're not and that's the good thing about Charlotte is we thought they were going to fall off the planet after LaMelo got hurt, and they would just not even be close to being in a conversation about the playoffs. And they're still there, which tells me that the other players on this team have stepped up, which means when the other guys come back, that they're going to be that much of a better team. Mm-hmm. So if gun to my head right now, I would say Miami wins that game.
Okay.
Then that would put, obviously then I think the Wizards would beat the Pacers. And then you would have the Wizards versus the Hornets. And again, I don't know. That's a tough matchup for them.
Okay. Miami's 0-2 against Charlotte this year.
Well, that doesn't really bode well for my prediction.
It doesn't. I just wanted
Don't bet your house on what I said.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. But I could see. I think Washington. It's not appointment television, but at least keep an eye on the Washington Wizards because they could end up being one of the 8 teams that actually makes the actual bracket out of the play-in tournament. My number 8 team to watch is the Atlanta Hawks. I did not realize how good the Atlanta Hawks have been since they made the coaching change. Since Nate McMillan has taken over as head coach for the Hawks, they are 20-8.
Jeez.
We've talked all about, coming down to the trade deadline, they want to get off of John Collins, or they're going to be able to swing a deal. None of that stuff. They didn't make a deal. They are sitting here. Trey Young is playing really well. He didn't play last night, so they lost. But they are one of the hottest teams in the NBA. In fact, I think that is the best record in the same stretch of any other team in the NBA right now.
Oof.
No other team has been 20-8 in their last 28 games.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, before you telling me that this morning and me looking it up, I wouldn't even have thought that Atlanta was even in there. I knew that Atlanta
they're the 5 seed right now, tied with the New York Knicks.
Yeah, prior to the season, there was talk about how Atlanta was going to take the next step. They did pretty well in free agency, blah, blah, blah. They got rid of Rondo to bring in the Williams, which is, I think, always an upgrade for a team that has Trae Young at point guard already. Mm-hmm. They're 20-8, which means they were 14-20 prior to Nate McMillan taking over as coach. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good coaching job. I don't know. Look that up. That's pretty good. Yeah. Nate McMillan has had 100,000 coach jobs, but you know what? What you always hear about Nate McMillan is players love to play for him. Mm-hmm. He's a player's kind of guy, and maybe he's got these guys believing, hey, everybody's written us off. Let's go do something special.
Yeah.
And they're playing pretty darn well. I mean, they're 18-11 at home, 16-17 on the road. So they're playing 500 ball on the road, which that makes there is something to be said about that when you go into the playoffs. There's not even the best record in away in the Eastern Conference right now is 16-13 with the Nets.
Right.
So it's not like they're that far off. You know what I mean? And I think that has something to be said about these teams. Atlanta could be a very good team. They could make some damage. If it ends up being them playing the Knicks, I'd be a little scared as a Knicks fan going into that series.
And that's the thing you have to watch for the Atlanta Hawks and the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
They're sitting in the 4-5 game right now. They're both tied in the standings. Mm-hmm. New York has the tiebreaker in that head-to-head series. Which one of them is going to be able to host that series?
Yeah.
Because that could mean a lot.
It could mean the difference in the series.
As you have pointed out, the Hawks are really good at home, 500 ball on the road. They want to be able to host a series. Yeah. And so they're going to be playing balls to the wall for the next 10 games to try to secure a home court advantage for the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
My number 7 team in the 10 for 10 to go is the Denver Nuggets. Despite the fact that Jamal Murray is done for the season, he's not coming back. Nikola Jokic is still the MVP of this league. Michael Porter Jr. he's playing amazing basketball right now. I mean, he scored 39 the other night. He scored, I think, last night, 31 the night before. He's picked up his offensive production to be able to fill in. Now, what did I say about when Jamal Murray went down with the injury? What did I say?
They will be fine.
Don't think that the Denver Nuggets are going to take a massive slide.
Right.
They are still going to be in every game that they play. They play fantastic basketball. Are they a contender for the title? No. But it's not all about winning titles. This is not just Jeremy Greene world where it doesn't matter if you're not a title contender. There are gains to be made. And if the Denver Nuggets can continue to be a top 4 team in the West or a top 5 team in the West without their star point guard, then I believe that they have made the statement for the year. And then we look to next year. It's a building block. I think watching Denver and what they can do, they're going to be in the playoffs. They're not going to be in the play-in game. They're still going to, they might have home court advantage for the first round of a series. And who knows? That team is very tall. They're very long. They can, they can defend. They can score. They are going to be a threat to somebody in the first round of the playoffs, regardless of who they play, in my opinion.
So currently, as it sits right now, they're the 4th seed by 4 games, and then the Lakers are the 5th seed, so, which means they would be playing the Lakers this year.
And that's going to be a hell of a series, too, because here's the thing. You got Anthony Davis and LeBron James. They're not, they're not on the floor together yet. Do I believe in LeBron James? Absolutely. Do I think LeBron James comes back and makes them an immediate contender? Yes. Do I think it's going to be a blowout 4-zip series with the Denver Nuggets?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I do not.
If LeBron and AD are both playing, they could get the brooms out already. They will sweep the Nuggets.
I don't see it. I think the Nuggets will give them hell. And it depends on how many games they can get back. How many games can LeBron get back for before the playoffs? Can they hit with some kind of stride?
Okay, I'll give them. They'll win the one game that most teams win in a playoff series, in a 7-game series.
Sure.
They always usually win one. They would be 4 games to win.
I'd be surprised if it wasn't a 7-game series.
Oh my God, that would be. I don't know. Again, you got the best player in the league right now, and Joker playing out of his mind. Michael Porter Jr. I will always be a little. I wanted him for the Knicks, and they drafted Kevin Knox, which has been quite a disaster.
Right.
He's not he's not the worst player in the world, but he's not doing anything really to help this team out.
Right.
But, Michael Porter Jr. did have the injuries coming out, and so people were a little bit scared, so he fell a little bit more than I wanted to. But I thought the talent was there prior to all this that would have deemed him being there. They got a good team. They really do. And I think that Joker's a player that we have never seen before because of his height, because he can shoot, because he can pass better than any center I've ever seen in my entire life. He can facilitate a team like anybody else. And you're right, I would say if they were playing anybody but the Lakers, that they have a shot. It's just I can't take my brain seeing that the Lakers would lose to the Denver Nuggets in round 1.
I'm not saying they're going to lose in round 1. I'm saying it's going to be a good series.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm not saying it's going to be.
You're right.
The Lakers will win that series, but it could take 6-7 games to win that series against a Denver Nuggets team who, without Jamal Murray, they're not full power, obviously, but they've got enough firepower to put a scare into LeBron James and the Lakers in the first round, in my opinion. So they're number 7 on the 10 for 10 list. Number 6 is the LA Clippers. You know me, I'm a guy that does not believe in the Clippers. I didn't believe in them last year. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, they're fine. I don't think it's a championship tandem. However, I do have to say they're playing really well. Since Rondo has joined this team, things have gone a little bit differently, and it appears like Paul George, he's having a good stretch. That's as far as I can go with Paul George. He scored 30-plus points in 4 out of the last 5 games. He's been absolutely unbelievable. However, when it comes time to actually win some series, I don't think they'll have problems in the first round. But then if they go in the second round, have to play Phoenix, I think that could be a big problem for them.
Yeah.
So Paul George is hot. Rondo coming back, I think it adds a little something else, a little bit of chippiness to this team, I guess. Because Rondo is a player that I've always liked, regardless of his output. He's always been a pretty good usable piece on some decent championship teams.
Absolutely.
Right? So I think he will matter for the Clippers down the stretch. They're going to be fun to watch over the last 10 or 11 games. Number 5 on the 10 for 10, the Brooklyn Nets. They're going to get James Harden back some point.
Yeah.
They're back to square one with his injury. What that means, whether he'll be able to make it back for the end of the regular season, I don't know. But regardless, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, that's enough. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving are enough to make the Brooklyn Nets a serious threat to anybody in the playoffs. And then I think the only other team that there are two other teams, obviously, that could give them fits.
Yeah.
And it's Milwaukee and Philadelphia. But the problem is the way things are sitting, Philadelphia and Milwaukee going to knock themselves out.
Yeah.
One of them is going to get knocked out before they get to the Brooklyn Nets.
And I think that the Sixers probably match up with Brooklyn better than Milwaukee can. But I think Milwaukee matches up better than with Philadelphia. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I also here's the thing: the Nets' talent alone is going to bring them to at least the semifinals.
Yes.
Obviously. But when you get down, what I'm concerned about in the finals of the Eastern Conference, when you're playing a team that can play with you and can play with you with talent, and talent just can't beat you just because they're so good. And you have to play together as a team, and you have to play defense, and you have to do these things. How many damn games have these guys played together? I think it's still
10.
like 10. Yeah, 7, 8, whatever it was, 9. It's crazy. It would be hard for me to believe that a team that's played together, total of 10 games in a season, can go and just run through the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But
I see what you're doing here. You're building the blocks on how the Knicks can beat them in the second round. That's what you're doing, right? That's
maybe.
I think it's fairly obvious that's what you're doing. The Philadelphia 76ers, they're at number 4 on my 10 for 10 list. They are sliding from the top. It's not been the greatest week for them.
No.
I don't think that they're in any imminent danger, anything like that. But it's just something to keep an eye on. But this is also kind of a take your foot off the gas. We don't have to have the number 1 overall seed.
Right.
We're good enough. We just need to, make sure that we got all our ducks in a row for the playoffs. I'm not worried about the Philadelphia 76ers, but they're obviously one of the premier teams in the Eastern Conference. And I actually believe that they're my favorite in the Eastern Conference to come out and make the finals.
If Joel Embiid gets his butt on the block and doesn't hang around the three-point line, this team is very hard to beat. Mm-hmm. When he's floating around the three-point line, they tend to, and once in a while throughout the game, that there's no problem because Joel has shown that he has the ability to shoot. I'm not saying that. But you need to facilitate the game through him on the block. They added shooters all over the place in the offseason. They finally are a team that can make some three-pointers, even with Ben Simmons on the floor. That's what they need to do. Spread it out with Ben Simmons. If that doesn't initially work for the kick out, get the ball to Joel and work through him. When they do that, this team is very hard to beat. And they play decent defense. Mm-hmm. Now, if they get away from that, there's games that they just seem to just get away from that. And it's hard. It's hard for me to watch sometimes because I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
Why? Why are you doing this? And so what Philadelphia team are you going to get when it matters the most? Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
The number 3 team on the 10 for 10 list is the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz, without Donovan Mitchell, he's got another week to come back from the sprained ankle. He got hurt 11 days ago, I believe it is, and they're still a really good team without him. They're still going to continue to win games, but it's just, do you believe that Utah can be a team that will make a decent run in the playoffs? I mean, they're going to come in as the number 1 seed probably, and I think they're just ripe for the picking for the Los Angeles Lakers.
They are. I mean, they're just... It's crazy how good this team is. They're so good defensively that when you look at it and you watch a game, like you can't get to the rim because Rudy Gobert is going to be there. Their perimeter defense is so good with these no-name guys that are out there. I mean, Joe Ingles, for God's sakes, out there, and it seems like you have to run an offense against them. You can't just rely on the ISOs, and you can't rely on the pick and rolls, and you can't rely on this. You actually have to run an offense. And how many damn teams in the NBA actually run an offense? Mm-hmm. Not many. I think
the Jazz do.
Yeah, right, the Jazz.
The Jazz do.
Quinn Snyder's got them guys
When Donovan Mitchell's in the game, they got a pretty damn good offense.
Yeah, exactly. So it's something that you have to change a little bit about what you do when you play them. But they are a team that can just get out after you defensively, and it's really hard to play against. But Donovan Mitchell is so much better than I think people give him credit for. I think he's one of these superstars that don't get enough credit. And he can do things all over the basketball court. And when he wants to, he can take over games. I've seen him do it where he can score 15, 16 in a row.
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
Number 2 on the 10 for 10, the Phoenix Suns.
Oh boy.
I can't
You
put my
can't get
finger
off
on.
him.
I can't put my finger on it. It's just Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. Thank you.
Yeah.
I had a brain fart there. Devin Booker.
Oh, man.
It's just, I mean, these guys can put up point after point after point. Last night, they were the team that broke the winning streak for the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
I believe this team has really got something, and I think that they are going to be a real threat. I can't wait for the Clippers and the Suns. Should that turn out to be one of the semifinal matchups in the West, I think it's got all the makings of a great playoff run in the West, with the Lakers and the Suns and the Jazz and the Clippers. Yeah. All those teams have legitimate shots. I'll be surprised if it's anything less than that in the semifinals in the Western Conference. Phoenix is just so much fun to watch.
Yeah. And CP3 just 100% took over that game last night.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter, 5 minutes left to go. The Knicks had a lead, they got it down within 4, and it was just like no, step back 3. Facilitated the Bridges for the drive and dunk. I mean, Chris Paul is and will always be probably the best floor general aside from Magic Johnson I've ever seen play the game of basketball. Floor general. Now he hasn't won the big one, and that's going to always be a knock on his player. But when it comes to just getting guys where they need to be and being that guy on the court, I've never seen anybody like it other than Magic Johnson.
Yeah. The number 1 team to watch in the 10 for 10, shocker of shockers, it's the Los Angeles Lakers. What is going on with the Lakers with Anthony Davis coming back? And then LeBron James, when he comes back. I have said it since, before they won the title last year. They were my favorite to win the title last year. They're my favorite to win the title this year. And I think it doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what your name is, in the words of The Rock.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
There you go. You did that so much better than I did. With AD always
one step away from breaking a leg.
Right. He's always on the verge, and it's not the good verge.
Yeah.
It's not. He's on the verge of taking over. You just sit back waiting. Like, when is he gonna break?
Yeah.
When is it gonna happen? And I guess maybe that's not fair to him, but his history would tell us that he doesn't stay healthy for long. Uh-huh. And what was it, the other night somebody kicked him in the leg.
Yeah.
And he acted like it was the biggest thing on the planet. And I'm sure it hurt, but Jesus Christ, guy, put your big girl panties on and play some basketball.
That's
crying
the entire
and
NBA.
feigning like like you've been shot. This soccer style reaction to the littlest bit of contact is crazy. And so with some guys, you can go, he's just playing that up for the refs. With Anthony Davis, you never know.
Yeah.
It may actually be the last time you see him on the basketball court for 7 weeks. And what was it Kyle Kuzma said when he was coming back the other day? And they were they were questioning, well, is he going to come back this weekend? He fucking better.
Yeah.
That was Kyle Kuzma's take, was he better. He's been gone for 6 damn weeks for a stubbed toe.
I think they handled AD with some kitty gloves in this season.
Absolutely.
Both him and LeBron, they probably could have played recently.
Absolutely.
And they're just like, let's just get to the playoffs.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
That's right. The run-up does not matter. As long as you're in the hunt, and Dennis Schroeder has come into his own and has become an actual point guard who I think can lead a team to a title. Now, is he going to be the star on the title team? No. But he's going to be that useful piece. He's going to be that useful cog that's going to get you points. And while your stars have been out, he's been playing great basketball. And once they all come back together, I still see them as the number 1 team. Mm-hmm. Now, that's the 10 for 10.
There you go.
10 for 10, LA Lakers at 1, Phoenix Suns, Utah Jazz, Philadelphia, Brooklyn, the Clippers, Denver, Atlanta, Washington, and the New York Knicks. No Hornets fans. I didn't put them on the list. Yes, it's because I'm a Hornets fan and I didn't want to take the shit for putting the Hornets on there. However,
oh my God, he's
I will
such a
put
homer.
them at 10B on the 10 for 10 list with LaMelo Ball coming back this weekend. I think it's going to matter. Gordon Hayward, hopefully he will be able to come back before the playoffs. Maybe
It's exciting. It's exciting for
rise.
Charlotte fans. It's been a while since they've had a team get there, and it is fun being a fan of a team that's in the playoffs. It is, because it is a 7-game series, and you never know what can happen.
And the Hornets are only 2.5 games behind Boston for that sixth seed in the East. If you can rise out of that. Now, granted, you're going to get smoked by Milwaukee if they continue to be the 3 seed in the first round. But would you rather be in the play-in tournament, or would you rather be in the actual field? And I think college basketball has taught us one thing: you don't want to be in the play-in.
Nope.
You don't want to be in the play-in. And I get it. VCU had made a run, and so in the fucking UCLA made a run this year out of the first 4, but if you're in the play-in game, you're not actually in the tournament.
Yeah.
So I think it would be great for them to be able to come in and say, we were the 6th best team in the NBA or in the Eastern Conference last year moving into next year. Because they're not a threat to win a title, but they add another star. They do well in the draft again.
That's what I'm talking about earlier.
It very well could be.
They're playing well enough to start attracting free agents.
Yep. Not a whole lot of time left in the program here before we got to sign off. Do just want to throw out a couple of baseball stats for you here.
A couple big ones.
Corbin Burns. No, not Corbin Burns. Not Corbin Burns.
Corbin Burns.
Corbin Burns. Corbin Burns, the pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers. I did that on purpose.
Get in front of the ball door. Don't give me this old lady bullshit. I love how both our brains go right to that immediately.
Corbin Burns, pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers, even though he got pounded last night, he still hasn't walked a batter yet this year, which means he is going into this weekend series with the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's going to start on Saturday, and he's got a chance to break Kenley Jansen's record for the most strikeouts in a season before giving up your first walk. It sits at 51 right now.
Okay.
He's at 49 strikeouts on the season without having walked a batter.
Okay.
So just some history to look forward to coming up for the weekend. He's obviously been pitching really well.
Who are they playing?
I think they're playing the Dodgers.
That streak comes to an end.
Oh, you think somebody's going to be able to work a walk?
They're going to work a walk. Of all the teams in
God,
baseball,
I hope Mookie Betts does it first out the just first out the gate. Just showing that plate discipline that he's so well known for in Boston.
And we talked about this a little bit this morning. This pretty much shows where baseball's going. Like, nobody works a count anymore.
No.
Nobody works a count.
We're swinging for the fences.
They're swinging for the fences. They're swinging for everything that they have. You know, I watched the game the other day. I don't think there was a 1-3-2 count in the entire damn game, and that's just baseball's going faster, though, right?
Yep.
I want to see baseball.
You want to see some 4-hour games?
Damn
Is that
right.
what you're in for?
I'm in for that. I'm all in for it.
I'm out. I don't give a shit that you can work 14 walks in a game.
It wins games.
It was fun when Kevin Youkilis was doing it, but we saw that, and I don't need to.
Freaking Youkilis.
The Greek god of walks.
The ugliest human being that's ever walked the face of the planet. And if I saw him right now, I'd punch him in the face. I hate Kevin Youkilis.
Now that I stare at your face on this TV screen, you kind of look like Kevin Youkilis.
Oh, my God. I've never heard
Your head's kind of shaped the same way. You got the beard going out. Yeah, the old Greek god of walks himself here in the Wicked Weed studio. Now, I don't want to see walks. I don't care about all the strikeouts. If you're swinging for the fences, fuck it. The strikeouts make the game go faster.
It goes.
So I'm okay with it.
Yep.
Shohei Ohtani had himself a night last night. He was the starting pitcher and, of course, playing DH as well for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Do they still have the Anaheim on the end of it? Are they still going by law? The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. He went into the game last night, the first starting pitcher to go into a game leading the league in home runs since Babe Ruth in 1921. and he had himself another good night. He had a 2-for-3 performance from the plate. He scored 3 runs in the ball game. He drove in 2 runs. He gave up 4 in the first, but didn't give up another run after that, and he struck out 9 batters. So had himself a day on the mound and at the plate. He is a different breed, and here's the only thing about him is I've never denied the talent. I've always just wondered, can he stay healthy?
Yeah.
And can he continue to do both things at the same time? He hasn't been able to do it for a real extended period of time yet in his major league career.
Yeah, he's played
but I do like
4
being able to
games
see somebody
other than the rookie season.
Right,
so.
but I still think he's fun to watch.
Yep.
Somebody who can pitch and mash at the same time is something that we haven't seen since the movie The Scout. So
was that Brendan Fraser?
Brendan Fraser.
Oh my God!
Oh yeah.
In Yankee Stadium. Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
Holy shikes! Wow.
I love Albert Brooks, so I love that movie.
Oh God,
Albert
so
Brooks
good.
is great.
Albert Brooks is great. What was it? The old HBO show? The Scout? Was it The Scout? What called The Scout? With God, why I can't think of his name now. Anyway, that's stupid that I just thought it because I can't think of the name and it's going to bother me the entire time.
Are you talking about the agent show they used to have with Arliss?
The agent. Yes, Arliss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was he in that show? Because it just seems like I would remember him.
A bit part in
I
that
don't
show.
freaking know, but
that's been years ago. That's when HBO was cable TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you had to stay up late at night to watch cable TV.
Yeah. God, who was? Oh, Robert Wool. That was who.
Robert Wool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good show, though.
It was.
I was young and I watched it. It was good.
It was a good show.
Anyhow,
Anywho, we appreciate everybody hanging out with us here in the Sportsocracy this morning. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Brian Haynes. We will be back with you tomorrow morning here in the Sportsocracy in the Wicked Weed studio. Right around 9 o'clock, Caleb Peak will be joining me here.
Yeah,
Look
Caleb.
forward to all of the 7-round mock draft videos coming out, team-by-team breakdowns over the next couple of days. We're going to be churning them out to get all of your draft prep in before the big day of Thursday. We will be live for all 3 rounds of the NFL draft, giving you our instant analysis, all the jokes, and you will see you will see some crazy things as the night wears on and the drinks get larger and larger. I think by the end of the night we had people sleeping on couches the last time we tried to do this at Jeremy's house. We got a couch right over here, and so we may have the couch cam to see who just can't make it through all of the draft coverage.
Who passes out and gets marker put all over him first?
Be sure to hit that subscribe button and share it with your friends. We are trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers, and we are all so close. Just a few shares from you can help make all the difference in the world, and we appreciate you joining us. Don't forget, get all of your draft day questions in at Greene ESPN on Twitter. You can hit me up at SportsTankESPN, or you can hit Brian up at B Sportsocracy.
Yeah. I probably should change that Twitter handle.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
It was
clunky.
like the first thing I ever, I couldn't fit what I wanted to, and it just was like, I need to make a Twitter, and that happened.
B Sportsocracy.
Yeah, because you got to be the Sportsocracy.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. Well, we will be the Sportsocracy. Again here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Tune in this afternoon. Jeremy Greene and I on ESPN, Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 a.m. and 1400. The Sports Tank with Jeremy Greene. Heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. We'll see you next time.